The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. This is Kevin Quill from RedStream, and I am excited to, share the top 10 mistakes that people are making in SEO. So I hope that you guys could all see my screen. And let me just see back up here. Just making sure everything is set up here, and it looks like we are. So let's go ahead and get started. So top 10 SEO mistakes. Some of these items I think that you guys could do yourself. Others, I think that you are going to definitely need a web firm or a marketing firm to help you out with that. But I wanted to give you guys a variety of things, that you guys need to start thinking about and discussing with your team and your marketing firm. So before we get into it, wanted to talk a little bit about RedStream. So who we are, we were established in 2005. We're currently located in Denver, Colorado, which is a wonderful place to live and work. We have 22 employees. We're definitely growing. Almost everybody of those 22 employees work here at our Denver office. We have a couple sales representatives that are in their regions throughout the United States. But we're currently growing, and as you guys know, or most of you guys know, we're primarily in the reservation software space, and then we also offer internet services such as website design and internet marketing. We primarily serve independent properties across the United States, and our focus is on 100 rooms or less. So really, you guys on the phone. Why we do it? Because we all love to travel. We all love traveling, experiencing new places. We love coming to see you at your properties and just sharing that experience. We only hire passionate professionals, and we love to educate our clients based on the feedback that we've been getting for the past 10 years. So a little bit about myself. I'm currently the Director of Digital Services here at RedStream. I've been with RedStream in variety of positions since 2007, and I am also the founder of the Denver Expression Engine Meetup Group, and Expression Engine is a enterprise-level content management system. I primarily came out of the web development space. I developed my first website in 2004, and I've developed hundreds of websites since and project managed, a ton. So I primarily specialize in e-commerce and content management systems, and you guys are all participating in e-commerce. It's not traditional e-commerce such as products, but you guys are selling rooms via the internet, and so therefore you're e-commerce. And I've been marketing websites since 2005. And in particular, as I said, I've been really helping hoteliers with their web presence since early 2007. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or call me directly if you have any questions. Feel free to email me. And I'm also a father of 2 small children and a husband to a beautiful wife. So let's go ahead and get into the webinar. The number 1 mistake, and this is a huge mistake, and probably one of the most important mistakes in this presentation, and that is not using Google Webmaster Tools. So if you haven't heard of Google Webmaster Tools, make yourself familiar with it. Go Google Webmaster Tools. If you have a Google account, it'll be inside your account. You just need to access that particular service through Google. But if you do not have a Google Webmaster Tool, you're not getting the picture of how Google views your website. Are your pages being blocked by Google? Do you have a penalty from Google? Are you having increasing 404s, page not found on your website? And it just really gives you a really good snapshot of the health of your website or how Google deems the health of your website. So this is absolutely an important aspect to get going and get involved with Google Webmaster Tools. It's really easy to set up. And once you set it up, then you get this whole array of data. So you can see crawl errors. Can Google crawl particular pages or sections of your website? You can upload your XML sitemap, which is essentially, we're all pretty familiar with HTML sitemaps now, but really now, an XML sitemap really tells Google about all your pages, when was the last time that page was updated, and how important you deem that page to Google. So you can feed Google some information about your pages, and then you can also tell Google about your robots text file. And the robots text file is really there for you to tell Google and search engines, don't crawl this directory, do not index this particular page. So you could allow and disallow different rules based on some of the search engine bots that come to your website. And then 404 errors, which is huge, especially if you guys go through a website redesign. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the presentation. But if you do a website redesign and a relaunch of your website, and you don't redirect those old pages to your new pages, you're going to get a plethora of 404 errors. And Google Webmaster Tools will tell you that you're having an increase in 404 errors, and then you can go back and address those 404 errors. And then really cool, people tell me all the time, hey, I have this new page on my website. How do I tell Google about it? Well, in Google Webmaster Tools, there's a tool set in there called Fetch, Google Fetch. And you could tell Google, hey, this is my new URL. Come view it and come index it quickly. And so you could let Google know immediately that you have a new page on your website, which is pretty cool. And then as of last week, they have mobile usability reports, which is huge because we all know that mobile is just blowing up and is just part of what we do now and who our users are. So you have this whole new tool to help you out with the usability of your mobile website. So some huge benefits of Google Webmaster Tools. It's, like I said, it's really easy to get set up on Google Webmaster Tools. So what you need to do is, if you don't have it, go sign up. It's free. Verify your domain. And to verify your domain, that's also really easy. You could verify your domain name if you have your registrar information, so your GoDaddy information or your network solution information. And within Google Webmaster Tools, they just kind of walk you through the process. It's really easy. If you don't know that information off the top of your head, or let's say your marketing firm has control over your domain name, what you could do too is you can upload a file up to where your website resides, and you could verify it that way. And then once you're verified, then you can start getting all this data that Google has about your website, the health of your website. So then what I recommend is, once you get verified, and it's instantaneous, so once you upload that file or once you give them your credentials to your registrar, you're set up. I mean, it's that easy. You can get set up in less than 2 minutes. But then what I recommend is, once you get set up on Google Webmaster Tools, is go through every single section of Google Webmaster Tools, and it's not that big, so you could probably spend an hour and get really comfortable with Google Webmaster Tools, and then every single week or every single month, just go back and look at it and kind of see what's going on. Does the health of your website change? And then there's some really good answers in there for you about questions that you've had, like, do I have penalties? What are my 404s? Is Google indexing all my pages on my website? And then once you're in there, you want to set up the locations of your XML sitemap and robots text file. And if you don't know what those are, that's okay. Speak to your web marketing firm, and they should be able to help you out with that. Okay, so SEO mistake number 2 is not performing audits. So you have to perform an SEO audit to know where you stand. So if you're not performing an audit, you have no baseline of where you're at, where you started, and therefore it's very, very difficult for you to really set some goals and get going what you want to do from an SEO perspective. So the benefits of an audit is to understand what your traffic levels are and where they're coming from. What are your conversion rates? How much time your users are spending on your website or on your particular pages, and really in particular in your money pages, so the pages that are going to convert for you. And then what is your mobile desktop and traffic? traffic looking like? So what we're seeing, and we've seen this now for a couple of years, but now mobile traffic is really it's a big number. So that desktop traffic is being replaced by mobile traffic, and just a lot of people are using their mobile devices, and you just want to understand that particular data. And then just other page performance. So what is your bounce rate on your home page? What is your bounce rate on your accommodations pages? And then it'll give you also, when you start to look at, different pages, you can understand, in putting together different metrics, is the content on my website valuable? Are people getting a lot from it? And then if not, then you can make some decisions based around the data that you're getting. So a solution to starting to get a baseline and doing regular audits is to get Google Analytics on every single page of your website today. If you don't have it, get it done today. It's also really easy. Google has just combined all their services into one master account now, so it's really easy to get analytics installed on your website. Do it today if you don't have it. And then make sure that you review the data. So just because you have analytics and you're collecting the data, it doesn't do you any good if you're not reviewing that data. And then once you get the data, make some decisions and set some goals. And depending on how much traffic you get, if you have a low traffic website, you may need to wait a few months before you can really make some good decisions, because you have to have a good amount of data to really see the big picture. And then when you do set goals, I always recommend that you use the SMART principle. And the SMART principle is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound goals. And I think that's really important. I think a lot of people kind of, they want to shoot for the stars, but I think it's also important to be realistic in what you do in the goals that you set. Okay, so mistake number 3 is not optimizing for the right keyword. And we have clients that we do SEO for, and they come to us and say, I think my users are searching this particular keyword, and that gives us some good insight. But then what we do with that information is we actually go and research it, and we want to know, is that keyword or keyword phrase, is that bringing traffic? But more importantly, is it bringing quality traffic that's going to convert? So the problem with not optimizing for the right keywords is you might bring a ton of traffic, but it may not lead to conversions, and that's a huge point. So making sure that you are choosing the right keyword is to the benefits of that is driving quality traffic. You're going to get better overall page metrics. You're going to get better conversion rates. You're going to get more revenue. And when you have better page metrics, in particular, so let's say somebody's doing an organic search, and they find your website, but then they bounce off and they go back to the search results. Google is going to start to track that over time, and if that continues to happen, they're going to start to devalue your page. So optimizing for the right keyword has some huge SEO ramifications, and not only from a revenue standpoint, but from a ranking standpoint. So a solution for optimizing for the right keywords would be have a professional perform an audit for you. And this is really where I definitely recommend that you hire a web firm to do an audit for you. Some places will do it for free. Some places may charge $100 or to $300 to perform an audit for you. But I highly recommend that you do it so you can get that professional opinion on are you optimizing for the right keywords. And then if you're not optimized for the right keywords, re-optimize that for conversions and not traffic. And then you always want to analyze after a period of time. And again, if you get a lot amount of traffic, you can analyze and make decisions quicker. But if you get a lower amount of traffic, then you really need to gather more data before you make those decisions. So number 4 is not having a responsive website. And then we've been talking about this for a couple of years now. And you know, in the past 5 years, and when mobile first came out, we were talking about mobile websites. Well, a mobile website was great, and I think was a good idea, but they were inherently flawed. So a separate mobile website is that you have an M-dot or a smaller version of your desktop website. Well, the problem with that is it's a poor user experience. So if you had a smaller version of the website and I went to the Google search results and I did a search and I found a particular page that's on your desktop but not on your mobile website, then I had to go to the bottom of your mobile website and say view the desktop version of the website, and then I had to do the pinch and pull stuff on your desktop website, and that just wasn't very good. So what Google recommended about a year and a half ago is that all websites should be responsive. And there's a couple benefits to that, and that is it's just the overall better user experience. It's easier to maintain than a separate mobile website because you have content in one spot. And you're meeting the user's expectations of a positive mobile experience by having every piece of content that's on your desktop also on your mobile website. And it's the same website. It just responds to the device, whether it's a tablet or an iPhone or an Android phone. So having a responsive website is definitely huge. It's not going away. It's not a fad. And it's definitely what Google wants to see for that mobile experience, more so than that separate mobile website. So a solution to getting a responsive website, you really have two. If you have a desktop website now and you have a mobile website now, a separate mobile website, you can retrofit your desktop website to be responsive. So you're going to keep your same desktop look and feel. That's not going to change, but we'd have to add some coding to the back end, to the HTML of that website, and make it responsive. So that's one option. That typically would be more affordable than option number 2, which is do a complete design and a complete redevelopment of your new website. Now, there are some benefits to doing a new design and a new development of your website, and that is now you kind of get the latest and greatest of all kind of features, functionality, design and layouts, design aesthetics for your desktop website as well. Okay, number 5 is not paying attention to page speed, and we've all been there. We've all been frustrated. You know, we go to a particular website and it just loads slow, and what do? We leave. So the problem with a slow loading website is it's a poor user experience. People just aren't going to wait around anymore, and especially since Wi-Fi and internet speeds and AT&T data plans are so fast, there's no reason that your website should be slow, and people just aren't gonna, they're not gonna deal with it anymore. Also, a slow loading website is a ranking factor. Now, I can't tell you how much of a ranking factor it is because Google will never tell us that information, and they're not going to give us insight into their algorithm, but it is a ranking factor. The other thing is if your website loads slow, Google may not be able to index your website, or they may not index all your pages on your website or a particular entire page of your website. And you'll kind of see those errors too. Back to Google Webmaster Tools, sometimes Google will come crawl your website, and it says, and then you get an error saying, "Hey, Google was not, we were not able to crawl your website on this date." That could be because your website was loading slow that day and just couldn't get rendered quick enough. So benefits of a speedy website, well, obviously you have faster loading times. It may increase your rankings, and it's definitely going to meet the user's expectations of a mobile experience. So if you're on a mobile website and I'm not in, and I'm using my data plan and not Wi-Fi, and I can get that website to load fast and get the information that I want while I'm on the go quickly, then I'm having a really positive experience, and that's great. So how do you know if you have a slow loading website? Well, you could definitely kind of, go to your website and sense, oh, I think that's kind of loading slow, but I would definitely recommend that you run a few tests. And the best one right there is Google PageSpeed Insights. So if you go to Google PageSpeed Insights and type in your URL, it's not only going to give you information on your mobile device or on your mobile experience, but it's going to give you information on your desktop experience as well too, and then give you some ideas and some recommendations to speed up that website. And then you can pass that along to your website developer and say, hey, can we do some of this stuff? What are some easy wins? What takes a little bit more time? But then you could really start to address some of those issues. And then, as I said, have your developer address the issues. And now some things are definitely more complex. It's just not like, that you could address every single thing that Google wants you to do. Sometimes there are items that are just a lot more difficult to address or doesn't make sense to address, but there's a lot of stuff in there that are just easy wins and easy victories that can really make a huge difference in the speed of your website. So the next, number 6, is not having a consistent nap. And when I was telling somebody about this the other day, they're like, what, do you take a nap like at 2 o'clock every single day? I wish, but really what I'm talking about is your name, address, and phone number. And this really applies to local marketing. So you have a bunch of local citations out there, and you basically have a digital footprint, and you have, in Yelp, TripAdvisor, Facebook, Google My Business, Yahoo Business, you have name, address, and phone number. You always want those to be consistent across all those local citations is what they're called. And if they're not consistent, the problem with that is it makes it difficult for users to find you in the search engines. If you're consistent, Google could really, the search engines start to put together all the pieces and say, okay, all these pieces are this particular business, and we know that's their business, and so it'll start to push you up in the search engines and just make it a little bit easier to find. The other item is if you're inconsistent or have old data in one of your NAP listings, it can lead to a poor user experience. I found a listing recently that I looked up. I looked up a business, and it said their business was closed. And I'm like, oh no, that business is closed. But in reality, it just moved. And so, that particular day I didn't visit that business because I thought they were closed, and then later on I did the research and just found out that they moved. But so that could lead to a poor user experience. So the benefits of being consistent with your NAP is that it just makes, it makes the search engines be able to connect all the pieces and really formulate a digital persona on your business. When you do have a consistent NAP, it may be a ranking factor, so that's huge. And these are easy little victories that you guys could do to really give yourselves that extra little push in the search engines. So the solution is to evaluate how local listings are displaying your NAP. And there's a tool out there, and they also offer a service, but you could use their free tool to really see what your how the different citations are displaying your NAP, and that's called Yext. So just go to yext.com and then put in the name of your business, and then it will tell you how your name is displaying on Facebook, TripAdvisor, Yelp, Google Maps, and you can see the inconsistencies there. Some people, it's important that your name, we had it with rezStream too. On some local listings, our local listing was rezStream. On another one, it might be rezStream Inc. On another one, it was rezStream Hospitality Solutions. So those were all different. Sometimes we had our local phone number. Sometimes we had our 1-800 phone number. You want to clean all that stuff up so they're consistent. And then start with, so decide what you're going to use for your nav. What are you going to use for your name? What phone number are you going to use? And how are you going to display your address? And we recommend displaying your address exactly how the post office displays your address. So you can contact your post office or look it up at the USPS and see how they display your address and use that address, and I think that will really benefit you. And then how do you go about addressing these? We'll start with the major listings first. So go to Google My Business, go to Yelp, go to TripAdvisor, go to Facebook, and really adjust those major listings too, because a lot of the other smaller listing agencies, they get their information from some of the bigger ones. And then there's some other big outfits like Info Group, which then aggregates kind of your NAP throughout the internet. Okay, so number 7, and this is kind of back to some more technical SEO, but having the same title on many pages. And this could be, your title tag. They definitely show up in the search results, as you can see on the right-hand side. And then underneath that title is your URL, and then a description of your website. But if you have the same title on many pages, you may get a ranking reduction for duplicate titles. WordPress websites often generate a generic title. So what I'm talking about a generic title is, if you don't go in and you optimize your pages for a title tag, every single title tag on your website may just be the name of your business, and that's going to just be really generic and duplicate across every pages, and you're probably going to get a knockdown in rankings for that. So, and WordPress is notorious for that. So you definitely want to go in, let me clarify that. WordPress with a couple add-ons or plugins will generate those generic title tags. So you definitely want to go in and you want to optimize those title tags. And how you optimize those title tags is really, I would definitely recommend having a professional SEO firm do the research, do the keyword research, and then generate those title tags for you. But some of the key benefits of having a unique title tag are it really helps engage users to click on your website from the search engines. And so not only do title tags help in pushing up or may help in pushing up your rankings in Google, what you're really trying to get is that user to click on that title tag and click through to your website. And then if Google sees that users are clicking on that title tag and then they're using your website appropriately and they're getting the information that they need, then they're going to start to further push you up in the rankings. So it's a really this is another one of the most important aspects of this presentation is really having unique title tags on every single page. So Google Webmaster Tools, again, on the first slide, it's an awesome tool. It could definitely help you out with this. There's a feature in there it'll tell you exactly which pages on your website have duplicate titles. So get into Google Webmaster Tools today and start to research your duplicate titles. And then again, engage an SEO firm to write those title tags for you. And then start with your key pages. You may not be able to afford to have an SEO firm optimize your entire website on day one, but start with your most important pages first. So probably 10% of your pages bring 90% of your business. So start with your home page, start with your accommodations pages, start with your specials pages, and then work your way down to some of the other pages that aren't as important, especially you guys that have large-scale websites. So number 8 is not properly redirecting your old pages. And I brought this up early on in the presentation. But if you went through a redesign of your website, make sure that your web developers are redirecting any old pages that you had on your old website to the appropriate page on your new website. If you don't redirect old pages, those old pages might have some authority in Google, and now you just gave it all away. So if you redirect it, Now that new page on your website, or even if it's on the same website, that new page is going to get all of that link juice or that page juice that previous page had. If you don't redirect old pages, it's going to lead to excessive 404s, and those are going to get marked down in Google Webmaster Tools, and they can start to say, you know what, this business doesn't really take care of their website. You know, they have all these 404s. What's going on with it? You know, we may devalue them in the search results. And then from a usability standpoint, from a user standpoint, you know, that page that you got rid of or that isn't there or isn't redirected anymore, a user may have had that page bookmarked, and now they're going to go and they're going to get that 404 page not found, and they're not going to be, you know, it's not the most pleasant experience. So key benefits of redirecting is now search engines can index that new page faster, because when you do a redirect, and this is something that you guys can't do, you have to have your web developer do it, is redirecting that page. But now you're going to tell the search engines, hey, this old page is now this page, and go there to get the new page, and they'll index that page right away. It's just a better user experience. And then your solution, again, utilize that Google Webmaster Tools to monitor the amount of 404s. And if you see an increase in 404s, you know, you may want to talk to your developer and say, hey, what's going on? You know, last week I only had 5 404s, and then this week I have, you know, 20 404s. You know, next week you might have 100. So these are definitely things to address. You know, it's an indicator that something is not right. And then after you redirect a page to a new page, go to Google Webmaster Tools. Use Google Fetch to tell Google about the new page, and that new page gets indexed even quicker. Make sure your web developers do this every single time. Every single time you take down a page on your website, you have to redirect it. And then go and check URLs yourself. So, you know, if you do a redesign on your, or a redevelopment of your website, after that website goes live, go to a URL or a page on your old website that you knew existed, and go to it and see what happens. Do you get a 404, or do you get redirected to a new page on your website? So number 9 is not focusing on usability. And so the problem with not focusing on usability is you're not maximizing your traffic driving efforts. So we spent all this time trying to increase our rankings in Google and trying to drive more traffic. But if your website is poor and doesn't have good navigation, good flow, doesn't have good calls to action, then you're losing those conversions, and you're losing your user. And so you're just not maximizing what the efforts that you put into driving the traffic. And when this happens, when people can't utilize your website efficiently and effectively, you know, the time on page is down, the bounce rate goes up, conversions are down, and it leads to poor page metrics, and ultimately this may lead to poorer rankings. So it's really important. It's equally important to focus on driving traffic to your website, and it's also important to focus on converting the traffic that does land on your website into bookings. So the 2 major benefits of good usability: you get more conversions and you get more revenue. The solutions to finding out what's good usability, you could definitely say, you know yourself, I don't like the way this flows, or I don't like the color of this button, or I don't like the position of this calls to action. But my recommendation to you is to test, and test again. And you could use tools out there that are going to give you data, and just not hunches. And those 2 tools that I recommend are Crazy Egg and Optimizely. There is a fee for those, but it's pretty small. And you know, depending on your traffic, the amount of traffic you get, some of the tests may take a little bit longer to get some data before you can make some decisions. And then analyze your data. Get back into Google Analytics and understand what the data is telling you. So if your bounce rate is climbing on a particular page, if your conversion rates are down, why are they down? And then start to put together all the puzzle pieces, and then you can really make some informed decisions. Is it the content? Is it the calls to action? Then you can start to play around with some stuff, but don't just go out and start changing things on a hunch. Definitely understand the data, what the data is telling you. So number 10 is not participating in Google Adwords. And Google Adwords is a pay-per-click platform through Google, and it does cost money, hence pay-per-click. But we definitely recommend it for SEO purposes. The problem with not participating in Google AdWords today, this wasn't the case years ago, but the problem with it today is with Google's move to secure search, you don't get the full picture of what's going on in just Google Analytics. So there's a line item in Google Analytics that says not provided. Well, Google is hiding that data from you in Analytics. So it's really difficult for you to understand, is all the keyword research that I'm doing, is it really paying dividends? Well, how you get around that is by participating in Google AdWords. So some of the key benefits to participating in AdWords is it gives you that data. So now you get that data. Yes, you're paying to play, but Google, it's necessary. They're not going away. We just have to work with them, not against them. But other benefits to AdWords is it's a highly controlled environment, meaning that we control exactly when your ads display, what your budget is, how much you're going to pay for that particular click, what keywords are going to show up, what ads are going to show up on a keyword. It's highly controlled. And it's also a really good testing ground for SEO. So, we can get data back quickly, and it's immediate. So you can have an immediate increase in traffic, and from that traffic, we're getting really good data that we can make decisions on to go after our SEO or organic strategy. So the solution is go get an AdWords account and invest in the pay-per-click, even if it's small. Even if you can't put a big budget together, even if you can only do $200, $250 a month, I know that's a lot for some, but still, the data that it gives you is sometimes more valuable than the actual clicks that you get. So, definitely participate in AdWords. So that's my presentation today. It looks like I ran a little bit short, so I'll see if there's any questions, and then I'll answer some questions. But please, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And again, some of these things you guys could do yourself. Some of the things that you have to get a internet marketing firm involved with. But please get started with some of these things, and especially that Google Webmaster Tools. It'll give you a huge amount of insight to your website. Okay, so let me see if so the question is, did you say that you could check your NAP on yext.com? It's Yext, so YEXT.com, Yext. Okay, I'll see if there's another question here. And if you guys don't feel comfortable asking a question here, again, feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Okay. Well, it looks like there's no more questions, so I definitely thank you all for attending the webinar. We have these webinars all the time, so please go to rezstream.com/webinars, and you can get the schedule of our webinars and sign up. They're always free. And I have another question. Will this be on a recording? Yes, it will be on a recording and will be posted to our website. So check back in a couple of days for that recording. Okay, guys. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day. And look forward to hearing from you. Take care.